Welcome to Girlies vs. TBR. I'm Mari.
I'm Alyssa.
And today we have a book chat for you. We have Fragile Sanctuary by Catherine Cowles.
Yay! It's a book one in the Sparrow Falls series.
And it's so cute. We actually tabbed it.
Yes, we did. Lots of tabs. I went a little crazy.
I like that.
Yeah. I tried to match them.
I did pink for the...
Oh, that matches? Yeah.
Yeah. And then I ran out. And I did like an orange.
Yeah.
Which is, I think it's ugly, but whatever.
It's fine. It matches. It's fine.
Yeah, so this is a romantic suspense. So a little dabble in there. It was really good.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, we're going to get into it.
Yes. So if you have not heard of romantic suspense or don't know what that is, haven't read it before, basically there's usually a mystery going on at the same time that has to do with the main characters. Sometimes it's like something in the past and throughout the book you're uncovering like what it was that happened to them, or it's like currently happening and they're trying to figure out like what's going on. So that was kind of both with this one, to be honest. There's things in both of their pasts, both of the main characters' pasts, that they're kind of going through throughout the book, and those things are also happening currently. We're going to give you a short little like plot summary so that if you are like, nah, I'm never going to read that, you can still follow along with us.
So the book starts off in Ro's perspective. Way back in her middle school years. So we get an introduction to Ro, child Ro. And she is so cute. I was like, wow, how cute. And we get her perspective on her family dynamic with her mom, her dad, and her sister. And we kind of see the night that everything changed for her. Her family home is burned. One whole side. That kind of leaves a devastating tragedy.
Yes.
And her family doesn't make it out.
Yeah.
She actually escapes waking up from the smoke. And she has like a pipe outside of her room.
But it's an old Victorian house. And I think there was just a pipe outside and she was like, let me try to climb this to get out.
Yeah, it was like really hot too. Like, so she experienced like some major burns as well. Kind of leave scars in her adulthood. And so we kind of see a little bit of that in her perspective, and then we jump right into older Ro.
Yeah, so present day.
We love a good little flashback moment.
Yes.
I didn't think we would get into it like that because I didn't read the first page, so I wasn't sure how it was going to be set up.
Yeah, me either.
So I was really emotional. I was like,
yeah,
we got a little snippet of her family, and it got taken away.
And then present day, she is deciding that she needs to kind of come to terms with the grief and the trauma that losing her family and the fire has caused her. So she finally decides she's going to go back to the Victorian that was burned, and she wants to renovate it so that she can live there.
She gets adopted by her best friend's family. So her best friend's mother is a foster mom. And so she has her own daughter, and then she has other kids with her. So it's a whole found family thing.
Yeah, Ro is kind of taken into the folds when she was a child still. And so she's grown up with Fallon, her best friend, as her sister. And then all the other foster kids as well. So they're kind of all like siblings now as they are adults.
Yeah, and a few of them is Shep. He is like the older brother.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he's the older brother, and he's really into restoration.
He has a construction business.
Yeah, and there's a few other characters that we meet that are her siblings, and we'll get into that. She's like, yeah, Shep, like, I want to make this home my forever home and find that peace from, like, that whole traumatizing event of her life.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, like, I'll do that. I'll help you. And what do you know? He also calls in a few people.
Yes. So he's like, yeah, we can go ahead and renovate the Victorian. But since there's fire and smoke damage, we'll need my fire expert, enter Anson. Anson was Shep's best friend in college, okay, and now he's working for Shep's construction company. So they've known each other for a long time. We find out that Anson is kind of keeping secrets. We do find out that, like, from bits and pieces, that he did used to work at the FBI. The only person that knows is Shep. So something happened that made him leave the FBI, and he went to Shep and was like, I need a new start. I don't want anyone to know who I am or what I did, and I just want to work for a construction company. Yep. So now he is brought in on Roe's house project to do the fire restoration part of it. We do find out a little bit later, like, kind of bits and pieces of the reason why he left the FBI. He was part of the behavioral analysis unit. He was a profiler. He was hunting a serial killer. And we find that that serial killer killed somebody very dear to him, and he couldn't figure it out in time. He couldn't stop it in time. Both of our main characters have their own traumas and baggages and things that are going on with them. I would say Anson, he's, like, so broody.
Oh my gosh, that man.
Yeah.
That man is...
He's so broody. He doesn't want to let anybody in. Roe mentions how, like, he always wears just, like, all black. His truck's all black. He has, like, no color in his life. He's just, like, broodfest.
Yeah, I mean, even the first time they met, finally takes the first step to even walk into the Victorian. She's looking around, and it's a little bit, you know, safety hazard.
Yeah.
There's
it's still, like, burnt out.
There's places that you should not be walking, and she was walking up the steps. And Anson is like, yo!
Yeah.
Why are you in here? And she is, like, scared. She gets scared.
Yeah. Because she didn't realize anyone was there. And he thought a random person was going into this house.
Yeah. So he's like, ma'am, you're not supposed to be in here.
Yeah.
And so she kind of, like, trips.
She, like, goes to turn and, like, gets startled. Yeah. And she falls.
And he saves her.
He catches her.
He saves her. And what I like is he's, like, questioning her, and she's like, what the man?
Yeah.
Like, you giant oaf. What are you doing? And he's like, why are you in here? You're not supposed to be in here. And she's like, I own this property.
Yeah.
Like, I own this property.
She's like, this is my house. Thanks.
Exactly. Like, I am allowed to be in here. And he's like, it's not safe for you. You shouldn't be in here. You shouldn't be walking around.
Yes.
And I'm like, sir, do you not realize how much this meant to her? How much of a struggle it took her to even step into this house? And at this point, Shep did not tell Anson, like, who she is really. What happened. Like, he doesn't know that it was her family's home and that her family died.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't, like, know much about her background. And they hadn't met at this point, so he didn't know who she was when she went looking around. But he does tell her that it was a very reckless thing to do. And then later in the book, he keeps calling her Reckless as a nickname. I love it.
I am so here for nicknames. Yes. And that is such a good one. I was like, oh my God.
Now they've officially met. They're working on the house and stuff. He's kind of eyeing her. She tries to, like, talk to him because she is a very sunshiny character. She likes to make friends with everybody kind of thing. So she's, like, trying to talk to him. Shep has also tried to get him to come over to family dinners, like, for a long time.
Are chaotic.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's a whole bunch of siblings. Yeah. Then you have the mom, Nora.
Nora.
And then Lolly, the grandmother, which she cracks me
up. I love
up.
her so much.
I know.
She is a hilarious woman.
Yeah, she is.
She's like, I'm old, and no one could tell me what to do.
No, she don't give a fuck.
She doesn't care.
She's like, yeah, she really does not care. She's so funny.
I think is it Nora or Lolly? Who is it that has tried to get him to come to the family dinners? There's, like, a specific...
I think maybe Lolly.
I don't remember.
But they're all, like, they send plates of food with Shep to go give to him and stuff. They've been trying to, like, get him into the fold for a little bit. You find out that, like, Anson's kind of been, like, eyeing Roe. He's like, what's she doing? You know, she kind of cute.
Does not give up either.
Yes.
Like, she tries to talk to him. There was, like, this one moment where she's like, yeah, you're such a chatty Cathy, aren't you? Yeah. And he's like,
Yeah.
It's like one word answers, and she's like, great, this is a great conversation.
Yeah.
Love it.
She just like calls him out on his like one word answers.
Yeah. She's just like, yep, cool, not gonna give up, but sure.
Yep.
It's so they're so funny together.
They're hilarious. Great. We have kind of like that back and forth going on, and Ro is also staying at a guest house on the same property as the Victorian. So a lot of times Anson can kind of see her if she's out like working in the garden. She loves to garden. Or like out walking her dogs. She's fostering a dog. I think a little bit. No, I think it's around this point. It's pretty early in the story she gets the dog. He can kind of like see her while he's working. And then one day he's like kind of watching her. And I think at this point, almost everyone had left the construction site, and he was behind. He's working inside the house, looks through a window, and, like, sees her stop at her front door at the guest house and, like, look down, and then, like, sees her start to, like, kind of panic. And so he busts out of that house.
He's like, oh, hell no, not on my watch.
Yeah, he ran out, and at this point, I was like, got him.
What a man.
Yeah.
What a man.
Yeah, so he runs over her. She's in a full-blown panic attack.
Yeah, she, like, almost passes out. Like, she's on the point of, like, going down.
Yeah.
Like, she
He, like, I think kind of, like, catches her to make sure she, like, doesn't fall again. He, like, kind of brings her down from the panic attack, and they find out that what sent her into the panic attack is that somebody left a burnt-up picture of her and her family that died in the fire on her front porch.
Yeah, and she was not ready to see that at all.
No.
Like, she hasn't seen a picture of them in years. Like, there's no way for her to cope, essentially.
Yeah. So her finding this, like, picture on her porch is the first kind of, like, dun 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 moment.
Yeah, I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah. And they try to play it off. They're like, well, maybe, like, one of the crew found it when they were working in the house and, like, wanted you to have it, you know? But Anson, being the profiler, is like, spidey senses start tingling. He's like, I don't know about that.
He's like, no, this is off. There's something off.
Yeah, he can definitely tell there is. And she's, like, trying to brush it off. This kind of, like, makes him start looking into what happened for the original fire that had killed her family. Because he's kind of like, some things are, like, not adding up.
Yeah.
So he decides to kind of, like, look into it a little bit. And then he finds that there were multiple small fires set in the months leading up to her family's fire around town that, like, had never been solved.
Which is crazy how no one picked up on that. How?
Yeah, I guess just because they were small fires, and so they were like, this is probably just, like, not connected. And originally, the Victorian house fire was blamed on, like, faulty wiring. So they didn't even, like, have any kind of inkling that anything would have not been an accident.
I don't know.
Sounds sus to me.
Sounds sus.
Sounds suspicious.
And I think during this time, there was a crew member that was being a little bit weird, you know? So when this was happening, I was like, oh, it has to be this guy. It could be this guy.
Yeah.
His name was Owen.
Yeah, there's, like, a problem guy.
Because Owen wants to, like, do shortcuts through
the
renovation.
Yeah, so, yeah, he's having problems with that first. Yeah,
that's, like, the first thing. And then I was like, oh.
Yeah, so they're very much, like, trying to do stuff, like, obviously, it's Shep's sister's house. Like, they're trying to make sure they do everything by the book. And Anson obviously wants to make sure that they get all of the burned material out of the house because that can cause problems. And Owen's, like, trying to cut corners. Like, he has a problem with not being the one in charge.
Yeah, he's just like, yeah, I don't think, why do we have to, like, do this? Like, I don't get it. And then he's just like, if you take off your mask, you smell it.
Yeah.
He was like, are you stupid?
Yeah, so they all wear N95 masks when they're working on the, like, burnt out parts of the house. And then they're like, Owen is like, well, this doesn't even, like, look burned. Like, why do we have to replace it? And Anson's like, just take off your fucking mask and work. And you'll smell it.
Yeah, like, there's no way that we can just not take care of this.
Yeah, because as soon as you move in, you're going to start smelling it.
Crazy
Relax,
man.
Owen.
Crazy man. Anson is like, okay, I need to kind of tell someone about it. So Shep is obviously best friend. And he's like, I'm kind of suspicious. Like, this is what I've been finding. All the fires. Like, there has to be, like, a connection. So he's like, Shep, I need you to do something for me. And he's like, I need you to get your brother Trace, who is the sheriff in town, to give me the records.
Yeah.
He's like, I need the records. I need to see what is up.
Yeah, like the original fire investigation. He's like, let me see those records because I think they missed something.
Or they're trying to hide something.
Yeah.
We don't know exactly what's going on.
And Shep's like, what do you want me to say? Because you don't want anyone to know, like, who you are. And I think Anson just tells Shep to be like, oh, just say we're finding stuff that doesn't really line up in the fire wreckage with a faulty wiring. Because he really doesn't want anyone to know that he was part of the BAU or, like, he was in the FBI or anything. So he's like, you have to do this, but, like, do it on the down low.
Yeah, and there's a reason why he doesn't want anyone to know.
I know. Working on the house, and he's seeing Ro all the time and stuff, and the tension is rising. There's a lot of tension going on. They're, like, kind of, you know, around each other a lot. He's, like, trying to avoid her and stuff. So the tension is rising. And then one night she's, like, playing in the sprinkler with her doggo. He comes over to basically be like, the dog shouldn't be doing that. You should train that dog. And she's just like, whatever. And I think she turns the sprinkler on him. So now they're both, like, wet. I don't know why that cracks me up. They're both wet. And she's like, oh, come inside. Like, Shep has clothes here that he leaves. Like, you can borrow dry clothes because I know you don't want to get in your truck, your leather seat truck, and get wet clothes on it.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, fine, you're right.
And she's like, I got him.
Yeah. So he finally goes in, and then she's also, like, making dinner. So she's like, just stay for dinner. You know, it's not a big thing.
Tacos.
Yeah. And she's like, I made some tacos.
Which is very domestic. Okay.
Yes.
I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Wow, they seem like a couple.
Finally, this man decided to go eat at someone's house.
Yeah, I was like, this lonely man.
Yeah.
Getting some food.
After that night, he leaves, and then he gets a call from Shep in the middle of the night. And Shep's like, I need you over at Rose. The Victorian house is on fire again. Done.
Not again.
Yeah, again. And at this point, you're like, who the fuck is doing this? You're like, something is definitely going on.
Yeah, I'm just like,
yeah.
I was like, I need to know.
Yeah.
I need to know who the hell is doing this.
Yeah. So they go in and they, like, clear the fire. Everyone, the sheriff, Trace is there, firefighters are there, fire chief is there, and stuff like that. Anson kind of convinces them to let him also go in once the fire is put out and, like, kind of look around.
Because he knows something's going down.
Yeah.
He knows.
He's like, this was not, like, an accident. I know that my crew didn't leave anything here. But I think he kind of uses that to be like, well, like, I was the last person in the house, so let me see, like, if I could tell what happened after I left, kind of thing. So he's going around, and then he finds in, like, a cabinet, he opens the cabinet door. There's a stack of old newspapers that were from the original fire. And so, like, his stomach, like, drops. He's like, oh shit, like, what is happening? Like, I don't think this was here. They're all old. There's, like, circles on them, lines on them, and so, like, someone drew all over them. And then the last one there is, like, a clipping from the newspaper that has Rose's face on it, and it's, like, circled a whole bunch of times. And then it says, maybe you didn't deserve to survive. So now at this point, you're like, okay, someone is obviously, like, hunting her.
Like, I was thinking of, like, who it could be. Because I was like, well, could be Owen, right? Who else, like, has this vendetta against her? Like, what is it?
Yeah.
Who is it? Like, what's happening?
Yeah. I made, like, a suspect list. Because I was like, who is it? So there was this random guy that she kissed on the night of the original fire. It was her first kiss. He's still in the town, and so he sees her from time to time and, like, is really nice and talks to her. So I was like, we don't really know that much about him yet in the story. And then she does have kind of a psycho ex that's also from the town, and he was also around during the original fire.
He's a douchebag.
Yeah, his name's Davis. He, like, started off in this small town kind of thing, went to Silicon Valley, got, like, all rich, tech, whatever, snobby, and then came back to the town. And when she came back to the town too, he was like, oh, we should like go out. And so they went on like a couple of dates for like a month or two. They like broke it off. She was like, no, not working.
They were just dating, by the way.
Yeah. They were just, they were like casually dating, like going out on dates. Yeah.
Nothing like that.
Yeah.
So he's a psycho.
Yeah, but he can't let it go. He's like,
why are you rejecting me?
Yeah. Yeah. And we have a little tidbit that he had told her to just tear the Victorian down instead of renovating it.
Yeah, so it was like, I don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. So why would you tell me that?
Yeah, and he's just a dick.
He really is. He drives around. Mm-hmm. What was it, a BMW or something?
I think so, yeah.
He was like, pops up out of nowhere. He was like a bug. Like a bug. Like a gnat. Like he would just always just come in his BMW. And I'm like, sir, stay away.
Yeah.
Go away.
But he would not. He just wanted to keep like bothering her, checking in on her. He would check in on her.
Check in on my
ass, bro. So annoying. For what? You guys had like a couple of dates and that was it. Leave her alone. We have Owen, like you said, the construction worker. And that was my list so far. I did add another suspect later. I have my eyes on you.
Yeah, for me, it was definitely Owen and Davis. I didn't even think of Felix yet. Felix, the one that she kissed on the night that the fire happened.
Yeah.
Like when they were in middle school. So I didn't even think of Felix as a suspect. I got him to be a suspect a little bit later on because I was like, oh, that's a little weird. But yeah, Owen and Davis were my top two. I was like, yeah, something weird's happening.
Owen I kind of had on, but then there was like that other incident that comes a little bit later that I was like, okay, yeah, he's on the suspect list. Felix I only thought because I was like, he's too nice. I was like, he's too nice.
Yeah.
He's still around town. And then I was like, and the author's not giving us much about him.
Yeah, for me it was like out of sight, out of mind. So I was like,
After the second fire, they're like, you need a security system on the guest house. So Shep and Anson kind of work together. They order her some stuff in. They pick some stuff up, I think, and then Shep's also ordering some stuff in. So he starts installing it, and then there is like an emergency at another construction site. So he asks Anson to finish like installing it and stuff. She had been like fretted on like all day by everyone in her family. Like came over after the second fire. I'm like, are you okay? Like you can stay with me. You don't have to stay here. So now everyone is gone. Anson is like finishing the security system, and he's like, I can tell she's still nervous.
Yeah, so then he offers to stay with her for the night.
Yes.
As like a security blanket. And I was like, Anson!
Yeah.
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes! And she's like, that would be nice, you know, so that I'm not alone.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm just gonna sleep on the couch.
Yeah.
I thought that was so cute. I was like, oh,
I
because
know.
he was very like off-putting and like broody. So for him to kind of like be like, no, I want to protect you.
Yeah.
And like, I want you to feel safe in this place. Like,
yeah.
I was in my heart.
And he could like kind of tell that she didn't want to make her family members worry more by saying that she was nervous or like taking them up on their offers and stuff like that. So he could kind of tell that she didn't want to like really ask them. Yeah. So he was like, I'll do it. Yeah, that was nice.
Something that the woman doesn't have to say out loud. Yeah. He kind of like just read the cues and he was like, yeah, I'll just do the simple thing. Yeah. To ease her mind.
They gotta be a damn profiler to be able to read cues, I guess.
That's so sad. Well, why didn't you say anything? I don't have to.
Yeah. The next morning, this is kind of when I kind of clocked Owen, is that like the crew is already there. Anson comes out of Rose's guest cottage. They can see him like kind of coming out of the guest cottage. He's just like, I'm just gonna like act super chill about it. We're not gonna say anything. Owen is like, what the hell? And Shep's just like, okay, whatever. Like clearly she wasn't feeling safe, so he stayed there.
Yeah, Owen's reaction was like,
so yeah, Owen gets pissed and Shep's like, no, he just was there because she didn't feel safe, right? And Anson's like, yeah, like he's thinking to himself like, we definitely didn't do anything else. Yeah. They did. This part that Owen said is like kind of what got me. So it says, you've got to be shitting me, Owen groused. You read us all the riot act about leaving your sisters alone, and then you're just cool with him sleeping there? Shep turned to Owen, his expression taking on a hardness I knew meant he was at the end of his rope. I told you to treat my sisters with respect, which Anson is doing. And then it says, I winced. I wasn't sure if this morning could be classified as respect, but then again, worshipping Rosebody had some reverence to it for sure. I just think it's really funny that, like, Shep was defending him, and he was like, yeah, respect.
Yeah. Yeah, because, like, they also get interrupted a lot.
Yes. Poor
Cock blocked
Anson.
all the time.
Anson gets cock blocked all the time by a doorbell or a phone or a knock at the door.
He does end up, like, you know, doing stuff to her, but, like, it never, you know.
That cracks me up, too.
I thought that was funny, too.
So then I was like, Owen, you're on my shit list now. Throughout the whole book, you have, like, what happened to Anson in his past, right? Then you also have this whole thing happening with Ro. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what are the coincidence? Like, there's gotta be a coincidence that, like, there's someone, like, stalking her, but also we kind of find out that the serial killer that Anson had been hunting before is, like, kind of back now. And I was like, what are the chances that there's, like, a crazy stalker, arsonist, and also a serial killer? Like, both just happened to both of them. I'm like, y'all have the worst luck.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way that two things
yeah,
are happening at the same time.
Yeah, I was like, this is wild.
Throughout the whole book, basically, you're just wondering why Anson is the way he is. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we kind of get a gist of it, but, like, we don't know until he, like, actually opens up.
In his point of view, that he gets a call from Helena, who was an old coworker, saying that the serial killer that he hunted that also killed his sister is now back and active again and killing again. The first kind of phone call, he, like, kind of brushes it off. The second time, she's like, he's getting closer to you. And so now I'm like, fuck, we have the stalker, arsonist, and the serial killer coming to town. It was crazy.
So then, more shit goes down. And you would think, you know, what else can happen?
A lot.
And it's so good. Because it's kind of, like, action-y.
Yeah.
So
Shep and Trace and everyone is, like, so on alert. They're like, tell us when you're leaving, tell us when you're going back, you know, like, she has people watching her. And so I think she was just, like, trying to go to work or back from work or something.
Yeah. Right? She was on the road, and she sees this car behind her, this SUV, and it's kind of, like, tailgating her. And she's like, what the fuck is happening? Like, what is going on? Yeah. And then you kind of see them just get, like, close. And she's like, what the fuck? And so then she starts driving fast, but, you know, obviously not fast enough. Yeah. And it, like, he just, like, slams right into the back of her. Yeah. And she's like, oh, shit.
Yeah. At that point, it's like, oh, it's not just an angry tourist. It's, like, literally somebody trying to crash their car into my car.
Yeah. Yeah. And then she was like, fuck, I gotta do something. So, like, she's, like, trying to, like, drive as fast as she can. Doesn't end well.
Yeah, no, the car, like, slams right into her and, like, sends her over the ravine. At that part, I like, made a little note. I said, Anson gonna be pissed.
I was like, Anson's gonna be like, what the fuck is she?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god.
Which we do. The next, like, scene is, like, EMT and everybody there, and they have her, and, like, she's not too badly injured, but then we see Anson, like,
come in and be like, where is she?
Yeah. He, like, parts the whole crowd. Everyone's watching, like,
He's like, they're like
friendly?
What's happening
here?
Yeah. And
they're like, so like, friends, huh? He's, like, holding her. And like, yeah, we're friends.
For a second, I was like, I know maybe it was adrenaline or whatever, but, like, did the car not have, like, a license plate?
I don't know.
I'm gonna assume that there is no license plate.
She probably didn't. Yeah, it probably was adrenaline that she didn't even think to, like, look for it.
Yeah, but I was like, get the damn license.
I think they were, like, canvassing stuff, but then Shep asks Anson, like, what do you think? Like, I know you're, like, taking in information and stuff. And so he is like, well, it's signs of psychopathy. Trace is like, how do you know what those signs are? And then it kind of comes out. He has to be like, yeah, I worked at the FBI. Oops.
Yep. And she's like, why didn't you tell me?
Yeah.
Because she does, there is another scene prior where he kind of talks. He has, like, the terminology of things. And she's like, Sounds like a...
Oh, yeah, it was
like
like,
a cop
you might
or
have to get
something.
an order of protection
Yeah.
against Davis. And he was like, she was like, cop speak.
Yeah. And so, like, she was just like, I opened up to you about things and, like, what happened to my family and all that, and you have not told me anything. And so she's like, I need to go. So just leave
She's
me.
like, I need some space.
Yeah, especially after that traumatic event. She's like, I just want to go home. And I can't deal with this right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like...
I know. I mean, but true. She was, like, giving him so much, and then, like, he was just, like, not telling her anything in return. Which I guess he had his own reasons for, but, yeah.
At this point, just fill her in. Like, shit is going down. I would rather have someone know everything so that there's no surprises. She almost died.
Yep.
Like, hello?
And then at this point, you're like, is this her stalker, or is this, like, the serial killer?
Yeah, which is, like, the hangman.
Yeah.
So, we don't know if they're, like, two different people, what is happening.
Yeah.
Like,
or if, like, the hangman is just kind of after Anson, and so, like, by default, he's also after Roe.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we do find out a little bit more after, like, that whole situation. He goes back over to Rose and kind of explains everything that happened in his past with the hangman.
Which, finally, I feel like she deserved it.
Yeah.
Like, tell me about it. And don't run away. Like, don't not tell me.
Yeah.
And so, I think it's fucked. I was like, he was explaining everything, and I was like, bro, my brain, there's no way. There's no way. So, essentially, Anson gets on this case. He's like, I'm gonna figure out who the serial killer is. And it was essentially like a game. All the connections and stuff. And then Anson kind of got cocky and started doing press, wrote some books, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna catch the serial killer. And the serial killer's like, you would have thought. You would have thought.
Yeah.
And it gets so bad that the serial killer went after Anson's sister. And the way that he finds her, he goes out and he sees a blonde woman.
Like slumped against
a tree. And is like, no.
Yeah.
No. And then brushes her hair out of her face and
realizes it's his sister.
Yeah.
And he's too late.
I was like...
Yeah. Because the way the hangman's, like, clues worked was that he would kill somebody and then send, like, a little word puzzle to the FBI. And then Anson was really good at those word puzzles, so he was the one mainly, like, solving them. Yeah. And then they would find the body after. So it was like he was trying to get there in time to save his sister, but he didn't quite make it. And then his parents kind of, like, blamed him for everything. So he doesn't really talk to his parents anymore. Yeah, it was very intense. Which, like, I get why, like, Anson doesn't want to get close to anybody because the killer is still out there.
Yeah, and he knows that whoever he ends up caring for is going to be the next target.
Yeah.
And so Anson was trying not to get close to Roe.
Yeah.
But obviously...
he couldn't stay away.
No. And so he was like, is this the hangman? Like, is this who's targeting Roe?
Yeah.
Because everything is basically culminating into this this whole chaos and mess. He's just like, this is why I didn't want to, like, get close to you. And she's like, well, I'm going to be here with you. Yeah. To solve this. Like, I'm not going to back down. Yeah. And I was like, you go, girl.
I
you
know.
Go, girl.
I know. And then we have the next day, like, she literally has a concussion and everything. And he stays on her couch again that night. And the next day, she's like, oh, I'm going to go to work. And he's just like, what?
I think because of the concussion, he actually has to wake her up.
Oh, yeah.
Every
2 hours.
2 hours? And she's like, please.
Yeah.
Let me sleep.
Yeah.
And he's like, nah. Wake
She's like, stop waking me up.
Yeah. So they are in bed together. And I was like, ooh. Nice progress. Even though there's someone after that.
So Rose's like, oh, I have to go to work. And Nancy's like, the fuck? You're not going to work?
Yeah, take the day off.
Yeah, I am.
And she's like, no.
He goes to work. She gets there, like, before anyone else does. And she's like, she sees something. And Anson drove her, so they're together. And she sees something. She's like, wow, it's weird. We don't have any cut flowers here. They're like flowers in a vase. And he's immediately like, don't touch it. Don't go near it. Don't look at it. Like, full high alert. So he finally goes over. I think he gets like gloves, and he like takes the envelope out, and it just has like on the envelope, it's a bouquet of flowers, right? It has her name, and then the note just says sorry. Yeah, and you're like, is this like the hangman saying sorry for like driving her off the road, or is it like Davis because he had a whole blow up and like, well, I mean, he had multiple blow ups, and she had to like put him in his place. And so it's like, who are these flowers from? We don't know. But the plot thickens.
Oh, does it ever? It just gets more and more intense.
Yeah.
So we know the hangman is getting closer, and we find out that there are more victims.
Yep.
More victims. But I think this one, wasn't this when like he kind of passes them?
Yeah.
And kills. So
yeah. He was like making their way toward where they are, and then like kind of went past them and killed other people.
Yeah, so we were like, what?
Yeah.
And Anson's like, I don't know what this could be. Like, it could be that he just did that to like distract them.
He was like, or maybe he just doesn't know actually where we are.
Yeah, so he's just like, I don't know what's happening.
It was weird though.
Yeah, it was weird.
Davis is dead.
Davis.
Yeah,
the
so
douchebag
we
is
find
dead.
out, yeah. I think she's with Trace, and Trace gets a call, and then he comes back, and he's like, we got a body.
Yeah.
And then he's like, it's Davis. And we're like, oh, shit. But also, like, I deserved it, so...
But also, like, I was not expecting that. That was something that was there, and I was like...
Because I totally thought
Davis?
he was going to be the one that was, like, stalking her.
Either that, or just, like, I don't know. He was just there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, I didn't think he would die, but I kind of like that twist.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. To thicken the plot.
Yeah, and they're like, we don't know why he died. They like looked into him and they're like, well, he had some like gambling debts and stuff, so maybe that was it. But yeah, he just shows up dead. And we're like,
and
okay.
By the way, we find out Anson has this epic moment with Davis, like confronting him.
Yeah,
he's like, you think that I don't know the truth about you, Davis. And he laid it out on Davis. He was like, you have no money.
Yep.
Your car's about to be repoed.
Yep.
In like 2 weeks or something.
Yep.
You're trying to move in with Ro because you don't want to go back with your parents.
Yep.
And I was like,
yeah.
I was like, oh,
and he was like, and you didn't leave your Silicon Tech job. You got
fired. They fired you.
Yep.
I was like,
I know. Yep. I was like, go Anson.
Yeah.
Tell that man.
Yeah, that was great. I was like, yes, profiler.
Yep.
Here we go.
Yep.
And then Davis is dead.
Yeah. So. Nobody cares about him anyway. Okay, so we have another night where Anson is there at Ro's house. They're like, they definitely like are getting together. They're like doing something. You know what I mean? Like they're on the way to having like an actual relationship because he finally opened up to her. They're finally kind of in a relationship, but they haven't like really told a whole bunch of people kind of thing. But he's there again one night. They figure out that there's somebody like lurking around Ro's guest house. So they're inside. The
dog started barking.
Yeah.
And then I think Anson had a feeling that somebody was outside.
And then I think he looked out and saw somebody.
I think there was like a shape, like a shadow or something.
Yeah. So he like takes his gun out and she's like, you have a gun? He's like, of course I have a gun. Takes his gun out and is like, call Trace and tell him I'm in pursuit and armed. And she's just like, what?
She's like, don't go.
Yeah.
And then Anson just goes.
Yeah.
And is outside.
Yeah.
And
he's like, don't leave. And so she leaves.
She leaves.
Yeah, she hears a gunshot. And she's like,
yeah, let me run
Anson! Out. And she runs out. After him. Yeah. So it turns out that gunshot was just Anson like doing a warning shot kind of to like see if the guy would stop and like give himself up. But he didn't. He kept running. But Anson does finally gain on him and he tackles him and we find out that it was Felix. The first boy she ever kissed. The boy who's nice to her whenever he sees her around town. Is also the boy lurking around her house.
I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I was like, oh, case solved.
No, it was
Nope,
not.
it's not the end of the book yet.
Nope, not the end. Not the end. And leading up to this is where I was like, this is where Felix was a suspect for me. It was like leading up to like him lurking. I was like, it can't be Felix, right? Like there's no way that it's him.
Yeah.
And then it was him. And I was like, okay, sir.
Yeah.
What the hell?
And then I think like literally the next day she finally like makes Anson go into work, and she's like, I'm gonna meet up with Fallon for like brunch, basically.
Yeah,
her
so
sister.
she has like people watching the house too.
Yeah.
Like she has,
there's like literally a cop car outside of her house.
Yeah, like she has people.
And so she's like, it's fine, I'm gonna go to brunch with Fallon. She's gonna be here soon. She'll be here in like 5 minutes, right?
No.
Yeah.
No. This is where everything happens.
Yeah.
She goes outside. I think she's like gonna pass the police car.
Yeah.
And she looks inside and sees that the policeman, throat slit.
He dead.
He dead. He slumped over.
Blood everywhere.
Dead. And then...
And she's like, oh, shit.
Oh.
But, yeah, she gets hit with something over the head. She gets knocked out. But right after she realizes that, like, the cop inside the car is dead, she goes to run, but she says, but it was too late. And then somebody says, hello, Ro. And then she says, the voice was familiar, but deeper, somehow darker. And then she says, I turned to find the source of the tenor to fight, but I didn't get a glimpse of more than a corner of a t-shirt before pain bloomed in my temple, bright and sharp. The world tunneled as I fell, but I can only think of one thing, Anson. So we're like, wait, she recognizes the voice, though.
So it's someone she knows.
Yeah. And then I was like, at that point, I was like, well, Davis is dead.
Yeah.
Felix was caught.
Uncovered.
So then we were like, is Felix just her stalker? And then, like, this is the hangman? Or, like, was it not Felix? Like, confused.
Yeah, I was confused. I was like, okay, there's someone else.
Yeah. And so we were like, Owen?
Who else can it be?
Yeah.
Because I all my suspects were...
All my suspects.
All my suspects.
All my suspects.
And I was like, who else? Who else?
But also, I was like, I think after, there was definitely something that was going on. Like, when she, like, went back to work, and then her boss there, his name was Duncan, and he was like, you shouldn't be here, kind of thing. Like, he's always taking photos of her and stuff. And so I was like, maybe it's Duncan, because he's, like, a little off. Like, she does kind of describe him as being a little off. So
I didn't get that vibe.
I did. It was something specific. I probably also didn't highlight it, to be honest. I don't know. Like, he said something a little weird, and she was just like, no. I think it was also, like, him offering his, like, house for her to stay in. I think maybe that was it. I was like, she has a little so many people, and he, like, looked very uncomfortable to be offering his house for her to stay in. And I was like, why do you want her there?
Well, didn't he say he was like, I don't feel comfortable with you going into Nora or Lolly's place because, like, you know, they're also women. And he was like, I'm a man.
Oh, yeah. He was
that's what
he was like,
his
the
reason
women
was.
Can't protect you or whatever.
That was his reason.
Yeah, I was like, what is this?
And I'm like, she has brothers.
Yeah. Like, there's plenty of other people she can stay with.
Her whole brother is a whole sheriff.
Yeah, her whole brother.
Her whole brother.
Who's not actually her brother.
Who's not her brother. Okay,
her whole brother.
They're siblings.
Yes, come on. They are. I know.
But yeah, I was like, sheriff. Brother. Her whole brother.
She's kidnapped. Of course she is.
Yep. And Anson does not know yet.
Anson is talking with Shep. Shep can tell he's, like, very on edge. Like, he would rather just go and check on Ro. And she's like, no, like, Fallon will be here in 5 minutes or whatever. Like, okay, well, let's just go. Like, we can just go have lunch with them then because, like, it's lunch break anyway. So they pull up.
And Fallon is literally hacking.
Yeah. She's like hands on her knees, like bent over, and they're like,
tears,
oh my god.
Tears streaming, like,
yeah.
She is not okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're like, oh shit, what happened? And then they see like all of the blood. Shit. And they're like kind of panicking. And then I think it goes back to Rose's point of view after that. Yep. She wakes up. She's in like a very burnt out house, like in the forest. She has no idea where she is. It's more of a cabin, really.
Yeah.
Like it's so burnt out, like some of the walls are not there, the floor is like barely there. She's like waking up and stuff, and she sees that there's like photos of her. Some were taken like very clearly, like someone was stalking her and taking them, and some were like from the website, crazy. Some were of where she worked, some were like newspaper clippings or whatever. She's like trying to get her bearings and stuff. And then we have a guy come in and says, "It's always been you." A voice cut through the quiet from behind me. I stiffened, my muscles turning to cement. Even back then, you saw me when no one else did. I turned so slowly, like I was moving through quicksand, because it couldn't be. His dark, shaggy hair was swept across his eyes as he looked at me with what only could be called reverence. "Silas?" I croaked. It was fucking Silas, dude.
I was like, ain't no way.
What? No, just another construction guy.
He was barely in the whole thing. So I was like,
yeah, it was just like,
who?
Like
for a second I was like, who is Silas again?
Yeah. It's because Owen kind of overshadowed him, but he was also on the construction team, and he like kind of flirted with her, but she's like, oh, it's like harmless flirting because I've like known him forever.
Yeah. This guy is psychotic. Yeah. This guy is psychotic.
So we find out he actually set Felix up to go look around her house. He is also the hangman. So her stalker, the arsonist, and the hangman are one and the same.
One person. Everything just came together. And then she was just being nice to him throughout the years that they've known each other.
Yeah.
And for him to be like obsessed with her is insane.
Yeah. She was like, he was on the periphery kind of thing. She's like, he was in our bigger friend group. That's crazy.
Yeah, and in the cabin, we find out what the cabin is.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It was his old house that he eventually burned down.
With his mom and sister inside.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, no one knew if they actually left.
Yeah, everyone was like, oh yeah, they like moved to Florida a couple of years back or whatever. Like, no one's really heard of them. Like, also, his sister's best friend also moved away. So that would be like the one person that would be like, hey, where is she, kind of thing.
And Anson's like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
He was like, no one has been in contact with these people, like, at all.
Yeah.
No.
The only reason why they're even thinking about Silas is because Fallon shows up. Fallon is there, but when they're like having the serious conversations about like who the person could be, Fallon like kind of inserts herself in this whole discussion. So they find Fallon, and then they also find a note. We kind of skipped that. Anson finds a note in her house taped to a shelf that has like a photo of her family. And it says, "You were supposed to suffer. How quickly you forget. Your sister must have meant nothing to you at all, but Ro does. And I'll make sure your torture and hers last forever this time. She was always supposed to be mine anyway. Let the games begin. The Hangman." So yeah, then you're like, for sure her stalker and the hangman are the same person. Finally make it to Silas. They're like, okay, we think it's him. They also find out because they're like, who on the construction team didn't show up for work. And so they're like calling around, and they find out that Silas left like in mid-morning during his shift.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh shit, it must be him. They find out about the house. Finally, like, it wasn't in his name, so they had to do some digging. Helena is there. She's like the main investigator now on the whole case, and she's like, to Anson and to Shep, she's like, both of you don't have jurisdiction on this. Neither of you can come. Neither of you is in charge. And they're just like, well, we're gonna come anyway.
Yeah. And while they're on their way, Silas is talking to Ro.
Yeah.
And the things he says
is
so
Yeah.
Like, he's basically just admitting to his, like, delusions about her.
Yeah.
And how he basically killed her family.
Yeah. Yeah.
And was like, he didn't even, like, he was not expecting for her to even survive this fire either.
He was basically like, your family was keeping us apart. We were in love. We were supposed to be together. Your family was keeping us apart. Delulu.
And so he was like, yeah, I'm going to take your family and you out.
Yeah.
But then she ended up surviving. And he was like, not good. Not good. And he was killing, like, women that looked like her.
Yeah, so all the hangman's victims, basically, were, like, women that looked like her. And then, I guess, besides Anson's sister, because he kind of, like, he was doing that, and then I think he kind of got fixated on Anson, and was like, I want to watch them both suffer.
Which is crazy, because they're together.
Yeah.
Which
How
I was like,
fucking wild. And then the other thing is that it's like, Silas has just like lived in this town the whole time.
Yeah.
And Anson is like, I was literally trying to escape the hangman, and then I moved into his fucking town.
Crazy.
That was nuts.
Crazy.
Yeah. And he's like, how crazy would it have been for Silas to be like, kind of trying to find out where Anson went or whatever, and then Anson just, like, fucking shows up to also be a construction worker on the same team.
Right under his nose.
Yeah.
Right under his nose.
No one knew.
No one knew.
Nope.
Nothing was sus.
Yeah. And he just gets more and more pissed off the closer that Ro and Anson get together. And so then he's like, this can't happen. Crazy!
So then they arrive.
Yes, so
they arrive at the house.
They arrive to the burnt out cabin. They see, you know, that Silas has like a knife to her neck. And he's just like, just come out. Like, I know you guys have the place surrounded or whatever. Like, I want Anson to see it this time.
And Ro's like, don't you dare, Anson!
Yeah, of course he comes out. Silas's whole thing is like, he didn't witness his sister being killed, but now he wants him to witness Ro being killed.
Yeah.
For maximum pain.
Horrible.
Like, grappling a little bit. Something makes Silas take a step back, and then the floor drops out from beneath them. And they're just, like, down in the basement.
And Anson's like, I don't know how deep it was.
Yeah.
But she better be fucking alive.
Yeah.
He was not with it. Anson's ready to dive in, and they're like, whoa, you need equipment.
Yeah. They're like, we don't know if the rest of the floor is going to give out or whatever. And so they, like, get him all hooked up. I don't know how the hell he waited, honestly.
No, I would have dove my ass down.
Yeah, this part of the story seemed like a little too much.
Yeah, I was like, no. I mean, I guess it's like...
he needed, like, rappelling gear to get down in there.
Yeah.
I was like...
And so, like, finally, he gets down there.
Yeah.
He sees Silas all...
Yeah.
And...
bones are broken
And angles, and he did.
He did.
He fell to death.
Yeah.
And then he sees Ro unconscious.
Yes.
Blood pooling under her.
Yeah.
And we don't know if she's alive or not.
Yeah. Trace is down there with him. And I think Anson goes to, like, feel her pulse. And Trace is like, do it. Like, we have to do it. And they're both worried that she's dead. But then he feels a pulse.
And then they take her out.
Yeah. And so then she's, like, recovering and everything. But, yeah, I really wanted Silas to suffer more. He just fell to his death.
It was instant death. I was
Are you serious?
He needed to be tortured a little bit.
Yeah, like, something. God.
And they couldn't shoot because
they were
Ro
so
and him
close
were so
together.
Close. So that was not a possibility. But, yeah, I was like, damn, instant death. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
So before they fall, like, she mouths to him that she I think she says it because she's like, I know, like, this will make Silas angrier, but, you know, I need to say this anyway because I might die. So she says that she loves him. They both been, like, toying toward the end of the book with saying I love you, but, like, neither of them wanted to say it. So she said it in that moment, and he was like, oh my god, I didn't get to say it, and, like, she might not wake up from this. I was like, damn.
Yeah, I was like,
You know that I love when they have the title of the book in the quote. After they fall, like, Anson kind of, like, says this thing to himself, and he, like, wanted to go just dive in the hole, but then they were like, no, you can't do that. And so he says, wherever Ro was, that's where I wanted to be. The cost didn't matter because she was my sanctuary. I just never realized how fragile it all was. romantic sanctuary.
That was cute. Yeah.
But everything is fine. And the epilogue, he proposes to her. It's like a perfect ring. Oh, do we want to talk about the proposal?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it? Yeah, it was so cute.
Yeah,
it was like 6 months later, they finally finished the house.
Yeah, there was one thing before he proposes that I tabbed. It was about fucking wallpaper.
Oh, yeah.
My heart, like, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So she finally walks in. And he's like waiting inside to kind of like give her a tour on, it's done.
The house is finally done.
Done.
They like didn't let her see toward the end. They wouldn't let her back in.
And
so
like
they wanted a big reveal.
Yeah. And so then he's like inside, and there was like this wallpaper she had in her childhood. It's like an old wallpaper.
Yeah.
What are the odds? What are the chances that like any stores would have wallpaper? Oh my God, this is so cute. It says, my eyes burned as I took it in, the fairies with shimmery wings, the same pattern my mom had picked out so many years ago. How? I croaked. When we tried to find it, the manufacturer had told us it was out of stock. Anson's deep voice cut through the quiet space. I got a list of stores that carried the brand from the manufacturer and started calling. A place in Ohio had it. Ordered everything they had left. My gaze moved to him. He wasn't in dirty work clothes. He showered and wore a flannel shirt with strands of pink in the patchwork of threads. How many stores did you call? I whispered. 313. Of course, Anson knew the exact number. Of course, he hadn't stopped with that many no's. I love you, I breathed. One corner of his mouth kicked up. I know. Jerk, I muttered with a laugh. And then he goes, you want to see more? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, it's just...
that was the wallpaper her mom had picked out. Like, her mom was so excited to have that wallpaper. And he found it for her.
Yeah, and then they're walking into the house, and they finally go to her dad's library.
Which, like, her and her dad would read a lot together. So, like, the library was, like, her dad's space. And they kind of, like, had that together.
And so he actually, like, put, like, a gallery on one of the walls with all like the pictures of everyone, her family, and then her new like found family, basically her like adoptive parents and siblings. Yeah, that was fucking cute. And then he had like a section of the stories that her and her dad read, and I was like, this man is so thoughtful. Yeah, because she would never finish the book. Yeah. So she would, like, read the stories that her and her dad had read, but the one that they were reading when he died, she didn't finish, and so now she never finishes any books. So he tells her to grab one of the books. Which is A Wrinkle in Time. Yeah. And so I'm just gonna read it. Yeah. A Wrinkle in Time. It was the same worn copy I'd read with my dad. Flip to the end, Anson said softly. My throat constricted, winding tight, but I was braver now, and I trusted this man with everything I had. My hands trembled as I flipped through the yellowed pages until I reached that final chapter. I stilled as I got to the last page. A beautiful bookmark lay there, one with flowers pressed into the thick paper, and it read, "The end is only a chance for another beginning." Tears spilled over as Anson pulled the bookmark free. At the end of it was what I thought was a charm. But it wasn't. It was more. I stopped breathing as I took in the ring, a bronzy gold with the most stunning pink stone I'd seen, surrounded by tiny diamonds that made it look as if the ring itself were the most beautiful blossom. It's perfect. Yeah. And then he goes and he's like, you gave me air when I thought I'd never breathe again. You gave me color when my world had gone black. You see every part of me. I don't want to spend another moment without you. Marry me. And she goes, yes, wherever you are is where I want to be. Yeah. And then he goes, had to be a pink diamond for my colorful, reckless girl, a flower for the queen of life. His lips hovered over mine. I love you. And she goes, I love you too. Love this beginning. So good. The chance to begin again, and I knew that would never end. Yeah. Oh my God, that was a wild ride. It was so good. Yeah, it was so good. Freaking good, bro. I can't. This wasn't your first romantic suspense. No.
I think it was it mine? I don't know. I liked it though.
It's so good.
I was like explaining the plot to my husband a little bit, and he was like, so is this like a murder mystery or like is this a romance book? Because he knows I mainly read romance, right? And I was like, oh, it's romantic suspense. So there's a good chance someone's going to get murdered, and there's also a good chance someone's going to get fucked.
Right. Right. Bro.
Which it killed me. Which both happened, so I was right.
It's a perfect combination.
Yeah. This book was, like, I had flipped through it before we started to see where the spicy scenes were. Because I do that. And I couldn't find them right away.
Yeah, they're kind of deep in there.
Yeah, but they're also, like, not where I expected them to be. Because they're, like, you know, this much way through.
Yeah.
But they're, like, throughout the whole book. So, yeah, just because it's romantic suspense does not mean that it is not also spicy. Because it was spicy. Mm-hmm. It was very good. Speaking on, like, the spiciness, we do have, like, some of the micro tropes for the book. It just kept coming. Okay, so every single time something happened, I was like, and this is in the book too. So we had a fuck it moment where they're like, we shouldn't, but fuck it.
I love those.
I love it.
They just they let go of it.
Yes.
They're like, fuck everything. Yeah. We're just gonna
now kiss.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we had Eyes on Me right after the fucking moment. And I was like, this book is gonna kill me. This book's gonna kill me.
Good. It's so good.
And then we also had Hands on the Headboard. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Catherine Cowles.
Yes.
Thank you,
God bless you.
Thank you.
Because then we had Eyes on Me again.
Yeah. Two.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was like, wow. If you like those spicy moments, as well as a mystery, highly recommend. Do you have favorite quotes or anything?
I have quite a few.
Mm-hmm.
I think we might have the same ones.
Mm-hmm.
Lolly.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
She is like one of my favorite characters. She's so freaking funny.
Yeah.
And I know we're going to get more of her throughout the series.
I know.
So I'm excited about that.
Wait, is this page 53? Is that the same? Oh, no, you have another one. Okay. I have also one on Lolly, so you can do yours first.
It starts on page 17.
Mm-hmm.
Nora and Lolly are together, and Ro is there, and she's like, I'm thinking in the hallway as you come in, Lolly interjected, then drummed her fingers on her lips. No, over your bed. What do you think, Ro? And this is a gift that Lolly wants to give her, essentially.
She's very, like, arts and craftsy.
Yeah. And Ro goes, I stared hard at the result of Lolly's newest hobby, diamond art. At first glance, it looked like some sort of flower you might find in the Amazon rainforest. But I knew better. I squinted and studied it harder. Nora gasped to my right. Mom, tell me that isn't a penis. I choked on a strangled laugh as the dick and balls came into focus. Lolly wasn't happy with simple diamond art. She needed inappropriate gemstone creations. Lolly arched a brow. There's no reason to be embarrassed about the human body. Our forms are what inspire the very best art. I rolled my lips over my teeth, trying to keep the worst of my laughter in. That may be true, but Ro can't hang this in her home. Not where people will see it, Nora hissed.
She just keeps making, like,
funny
dick art and, like, giving them to people.
But it's, like, perfect timing, too, because most of the time, like, Ro is, like, either on the verge of tears or, like, too into her head, and Lolly's like, no, I'm gonna be myself. Yeah. And you're gonna, like, fucking laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the best. She's, like, so funny.
I have another one with Lolly. She's so fucking hilarious. She, like, breaks the tension every time. So she's, like, talking about Anson, right? Oh, they're talking, it's, like, a family dinner again, and they're talking, like, oh, is Anson going to be able to make it to the family dinner? You know, yada, yada, yada. They're, like, talking about trying to get him to come. So she says, you got to get past that boy's defenses. He's too pretty to be wasting away all alone. I couldn't help the scoffing sound that slipped past my lips. Lolly sent me a pointed look. Don't tell me you haven't noticed those muscles and piercing eyes. Doesn't make his personality any more charming, I grumbled. Their personality doesn't matter if their mouth is busy doing other things.
When I tell you I cackled.
Yeah.
And what's funnier is that, like, there's also a child in there.
Keely.
Keely. Oh my god.
And Lolly just still, like, keeps talking about all this stuff when Keely is even there.
And Keely, it's funny. Like, it's like comedic relief because she's like, what's that?
Yeah.
They're like, no, shut up, Grandma. It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's so freaking funny.
We also love, he calls her Reckless, like, the whole book. I love it.
Yeah.
I love a good nickname.
Nicknames are amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. They're, like, together. So Anson and Ro are together in her house. And she's watching Anson because he's fine, right? And so it goes, Anson shrugged, the action pulling the t-shirt taut across his broad chest. His feet were bare, and something about that was sexier than it should have been. Did I have a foot fetish now? And so I'm like...
No, you just have an Anson fetish.
Right. I was like, it's such a subtle thing, but I was laughing.
Yeah.
I was like, no, you just love Anson.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
The next one was a little bit further. So they're trying to take the dog, whose name's Biscuit. She's trying to get him to go to the vet. And Anson, like, pulls up and he's like, what's happening? And she's like, I'm trying to get him in the truck, but he won't get in. Like, I think he knows we're going to the vet, even though I didn't say the word vet. And so they're like, okay, we'll haul him up together. And so they get him in the car, and he's, like, terrified the entire time. Anson just goes to the vet with them. And he's, like, about to get his shots, and he's so scared. And so they're like, okay, just hold him. And she's like, okay, I'll, like, get his top half. Like, you just, like, hold his back legs. You get the bottom half. And then it's just... As she moved in to grab the scruff of Biscuit's neck, her eyes widened. Oh, no. He's pooping.
And then I felt it.
And so Anson got pooped on by the dog. That killed me. Like, this big, grumpy old man just like, let's just get the dog in the car. Like, brr. And he gets shat on. I fucking loved that. And then he has to wear this, like, giant t-shirt home that's, like, pink tie-dye sparkly or whatever that has, like, a cat on it or something. And he's just like, shut up.
I also had that one tapped.
Yeah.
Another favorite moment that I had was when Ro and Fallon were having a sisterly moment because they're best friends. And I just love seeing that in books. I don't know. My heart swells when I see that. It's like her and Fallon talking, and it says, she sent me a sad smile. You didn't have any choice with us, and I think you still hold back a piece of you even from us. Keeping that somehow makes you feel safe. The tears came then spilling down my cheeks. I'm so scared of losing one of you. I don't think I could take it. And they're just having a moment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Please.
It's really cool that they were, like, BFFs when they were younger. And then, like, she got to get taken in by her family as well.
Yeah, her mom is super cool for doing that.
I wonder if we're going to get Fallon's story. I haven't looked at who the other books are on. There's so many siblings and, like, other people. We have, like, her coworker that also works at, like, the garden center, too. Thea.
I see Thea.
Thea. So we have her and Trace. Kind of like tries to ask her out on a date and gets shot down. So I don't know who the next one is on. We should look it up. I have on the beginning before, like, when Anson goes off on David, unravels his whole life lie. She's like, Ro is talking to Davis because he basically, like, showed up out of nowhere again. He says this: we were in a relationship and you jump into bed with the first moron behemoth to crook his finger at you. I should have known you were nothing but a cheap slut. I reeled back as if he struck me. What did you just call her? Anson growled. Davis whirled on him, his face paling. I called her what she clearly is. Anson prowled toward him, his panther-like grace in full effect. I warned you to stay clear of her, and now you show back up and insult her at her own home. I don't think you're learning, Davy. My name is Davis. No, Davis is a man's name, but you aren't a man, are you? And then he just, like, unravels all his lies about his fancy tech job. Yeah. Yeah.
And so.
Love it. Love it.
So good.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Catherine Cowles.
Yeah.
What'd you put in this shit?
I know. Oh my god.
What did you put in this shit? It's so freaking good.
Yeah. Who's book 2 about? Delicate
Shep
Escape. So book 2 is Delicate Escape. We haven't read it yet.
Shep and Thea?
It's Shep. I wonder, like, I'm very interested in Thea's past. We know something is, like, going on.
Yeah, because isn't she, like... She doesn't want to be on camera.
Yeah, she
or
doesn't
like
get
have
camera,
her pictures be up
or
anywhere.
have like a paper trail of getting paid of where she is and stuff like that.
She's definitely hiding from someone.
Yeah, right, running from somebody. So
yeah, she doesn't want anything. So I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah.
I think there was a moment in this book where was it Shep that actually asked her on a date or something, and she's like,
not interested.
She was like, no, and they were like, Shep is never turned down, rejected. So he was like,
excuse me?
Oh yeah, he was talking to Anson because like Shep was like thinking about it, I guess, and they were like Anson kind of like laughed at him. He was like, "Ha, you got rejected, bro. Oh, sucks to suck." Yeah. So I'm actually really excited. To get into that one.
I definitely liked it a lot. I liked the like mystery aspect. I liked the romance plot. It was spicier than I thought it was gonna be.
Me too. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. In terms of just like throughout the book, really. I was pleasantly surprised. I liked it a lot. I'm excited. I'm happy there's like a whole series already. So we can just
we don't have to like wait or anything.
But yeah, I think
that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much all we have. Yeah. Let us know if you have read it or are going to read it. Or you're just like, yeah, that sounds great, but not really like my genre or whatever. But yeah, let us know what you think in the comments.
All right. Bye.
Bye.